So, the first question that people always ask me is how long have you been a medium? How did you know that you were one? And when did all this come about? Basically, they want to know if I've been able to do this since I was a little girl. So, ever since I can remember, you can ask anyone in my family, I've always been extremely sensitive. And all growing up, I always thought that it was a negative thing and that, being sensitive was something to conquer and change in myself. And that it was actually something I didn't like about myself for a really long time. And over the years, I have come to understand myself and come to understand that my sensitivity is actually my gift, and that's how I connect with those on the other side, and that's how I connect with the people that are in front of me, and so I've always been extremely sensitive, and intuitive. I'm a Pisces. My birthday is March 18th, and that just kind of goes along with my sign. Although there's not a lot of me that actually goes along with Pisces. I must be more towards Aries, although I've never really researched it. But it's really funny. So I got my first reading years ago on Bardstown Road in Louisville, Kentucky, and I went in to go see a tarot card reader, and her name was Psychic Peaches. It was my first reading, and I sat down and she told me all of these really interesting things, actually, that I was going to get a small inheritance, and that I was not always going to be a hairdresser, and that I was going to switch jobs, and that I had these gifts coming to me, and that she wasn't sure why I didn't have the gifts already, but I was going to have gifts. And I was so naive at the time. I was like, oh, I'm going to get like gifts in the mail. Cool. Christmas gifts or birthday gifts or, something like that. Like someone's going to surprise me with a gift. I had no idea at that time that she meant spiritual gifts and gifts of intuition and gifts of communicating with people that have crossed over. Had absolutely no idea. She also told me about the person that I was going to marry. And, I'm not going to share that with you right now because I'm not married and I don't like to share the things that haven't happened yet. Because one, it's more fun that way. And two, it can freak people out. When I already know my future, it can freak them out. So that happened, and then about 6 or 7 years ago, my grandfather passed away, my papa, and when he passed away, it was quite traumatic because I was an adult, and it was the first passing as an adult that I could really feel things, and we had his memorial service in Indianapolis with my cousins and aunt and uncle and the rest of the family was there. But we ended up going out for drinks, and that night when I went to bed, I had a dream of my grandfather. Only I have to tell you what happened before that. So we had been going through my grandfather's things and looking for his favorite sweater. It was a red sweater with a little alligator right here. It's a red V-neck sweater. So my grandfather had this sweater in probably like a million different colors, but he had a traditional outfit of wearing this red sweater with either white shorts or yellow shorts. Like that's all that I remember him wearing all growing up. And we couldn't find this red sweater. He passed away in Florida, which was so beautiful because him and my grandmother retired in Florida and spent all of their years there. And then once he got to a certain age, he moved to Indianapolis, just so that he would have family around. And he would go back to Florida for the winters. And he actually passed away in Florida one of those winters. And to me, it was like him going home, and he was ready to go, and he was ready to pass on. But long story short, we couldn't find this red sweater. Well, that night after his memorial service, we went and let off some steam and got into bed, fell asleep, and he visited me in my dreams. That was my first spirit contact that I can remember. That was that I was so sure of. He was sitting in a wooden chair next to my bed, and he was he was sitting there in that red sweater and the white shorts, and he just sat there, and he was taking care of me. And the feeling that I had was just that he was going to watch out for me and help me in my everyday life. And I woke up the next morning and I told my family that he had visited me in my dreams with that sweater on, and everybody was blown away. Still blows me away. Still haven't found the red sweater because he's wearing it. Just one of those weird things. We all have those crazy, weird stories like that. And that was my first experience in that. And that was in February. I can't remember what year. It was like 6 or 7 years ago. And that was the start of it, actually. And from that point forward, Spirit had a different idea for me. And I was guided into doing this work. And I started feeling things more deeply. And my aunt, my Aunt Karen, actually, went to go to a place called Lilydale. For those of you that know me, I speak of Lilydale often. I love it. It is the first spiritualist community in this country, and it was they paved the way for spiritualists and mediums all over. And so this place, Lilydale, just happens to be like 2 miles away from where I was born. It is freaky. And I didn't know about it until I was an adult. Like, I was like 5 minutes away from this crazy awesome place that I could have gone to like all growing up, and I didn't know about it until I was an adult. My Aunt Karen called me up and was like, oh my God, I went to Lilydale. I got to see orbs and have readings, and it was so cool. You've got to go there. So I said the next time that I went up to New York to visit my family, I would go there. And I did. So I called my other aunt. Okay, so let me just say, I have tons of aunts and uncles, and I come from a very large, full-blooded Italian family. So I will use their names. So my Aunt Susie, I called her up. She lives in Buffalo, New York. I called her up and I said, hey, Aunt Karen said I got to go to Lilydale. So can we go there? And she's like, oh my God, yeah, we can totally go to Lilydale. I actually have a guy there that I go in for readings for. I'll call him up and occasionally get readings. I haven't gotten one in years and years, but let's go. And I said, okay, awesome. Yeah, let's do this. So my Aunt Susie is actually my godmother, and she very much mothers me. Her and I are like this. 2 peas in a pod. We get each other. She is like the one person in the world that truly gets my heart, my soul. Love her. And she's really taken her job as my godmother seriously, because she has guided me and supported me in my spiritual development and in my medium business more than anyone. And it has truly, truly helped me. And she's wonderful. I love her. But so we went there. We went to Lilydale. She got her reading first and came out, and then I got my reading second. I had a reading with a man named John White. For some reason, he reminded me of one of my grandparents, and just the way that he spoke and just the way that his mannerisms are. He's older and very soft and nurturing and wonderful, and just someone that you would want to have in your family. And I had the most amazing experience. I sat down, and the first thing that he said to me was, oh, you have a blue star on your forehead. At the time, I was like, what the shit is he talking about? And then he went on to explain, I see a blue star on your forehead, and that's my symbol for a medium. I don't know if you know this yet or not, but you're a medium. And right then and there, everything clicked. Everything made sense. I got it. And from that point on, I was like, yes, that's who I am. Oh my God, like I can't believe that it's taken me this long to understand and figure it out. And of course, my next question was, okay, like how do I do this? Um, and so that was really the start of my journey, was going through all of that. And it was a struggle. I'm not gonna lie. Like the first year after finding out or acknowledging that I was a medium was probably the hardest year, and it it was more about me finding myself and trying to understand myself. So what I am, I'm actually a natural born medium, meaning that my abilities have always come so naturally that I didn't know what I was doing. So it comes along both lines of my family. So on my mom's side and my dad's side, I get it from both my grandmothers. I have other psychics and mediums in my family. They don't do it for a living, but since I came out and since my development has started, everyone else has started. I've mentored other people in my family as well as them helping and guiding me. And I've had the pleasure of teaching both of my aunts and other members of my family, and it's a dream come true. And my family is very supportive. And I remember there were times when my brother and I would be so connected that he would text me out of the blue whenever I was in like super despair and needing someone, and be sitting there and be like, oh, no one loves me. I'm having a horrible day. My life sucks. You know, like we all have those days. And then I get a text from him saying, hey, just want you to know that I love you, which is so not like my brother. If you know my brother, like so not like him. And I would text him back and be like, hey, why'd you send that? And he's like, I don't know. I just got a feeling. I don't know. I just got a feeling. So that's how it works for him. It's really wonderful. So yeah, so that was the start of my development, and then I started seeking all of this out and started developing. So that was my early stage of finding out I was a medium. It was the most amazing gift that could have ever been given to me. And I can only say that it's going to get better.